Good morning. Welcome in RNQ NIOS classes, chapter number 4, Medieval India. Developments in the field of religion, folk art and language in India during the medieval times have been important milestone in the evolution the composite culture of India. New religion movement like Sufi and Sikhism along with Bhakti movement contributed to this process. If you look around, you will see the impact of Islam on many aspects of Indian culture. You might have visited some famous monument in India. These monuments stand as symbols of the composite nature of Indo-Islamic culture in India. You can also see how various religions in India, including Islam, have influenced each other. Development of folk arts through which the common people display their creativity is another significant aspect of Indian culture. The various regional languages that we speak today to have an interesting history which evolved during this period. Objective. After reading this lesson, you will be able to understand society during medieval times. Trace the rise of Islam and Sufism. Describe the political situation of Indian in medieval times. Examine the influence of Islam on Indian religion. Trace the growth of Bhakti movement. Examine the development folk art, painting and music during the medieval period. Trace the rise of modern Indian languages. Discuss the rise of Sikhism and the Sikh power in India and trace the developments in South India. Life of people under Delhi Sultan. When the Muslim invaders came to India, they decided to make their home. They intermarried and took to culture of the Indians. There was a mutual exchange in ideas and custom, in dress, speech, manners, and intellectual outlook. The two influenced each other very profoundly. Some of these changes are described below. Society. The Indian society was divided into four major groups. They were the aristocrats, the priests, the townspeople, and the peasants. Aristocrats. The aristocrats include the Sultan and his relatives, nobility, and the landholders. There were also the Hindu Rajas, chief Hindu merchant and bankers. They concentrated all the wealth as well as the power in their hands. Needless to say that they were a group of very powerful people. They lived in great style and luxury. The Sultan outmatched everyone in this. He had to do it so to maintain his superiority and his status. He had to show he was different from the others. Whenever a new sultan came to the throne, the khutbah or sermon was read out in his name. The Friday prayers at the mosque and coins were issued in his name. This established a new ruler on their throne. To maintain his distinction as the ruler, he was provided with many officers and servants at the royal household where he lived great luxury. Even the nobility imitated his style and showed of their wealth. The priest. The priests were another important class of people in the society. Among the Hindus, they were the Brahmins and Ulmas. Among the Muslims, they were given grants of tax-free land of maintenance and were often very powerful. The Ulmas wielded great influence on their Muslim sultan and often influenced their policies. But at other times, like during the reign of Alauddin Khilji, they were even ignored. Sometimes the priests were not interested in religion affair but were more interested in worldly affairs. The town people. In the town lived the wealthy merchants, traders, artisans, the nobility, the officers, and the soldiers also stayed in the towns that were at the administrative and political centers, places where the Sufi and Bhakti sons lived, and places which housed important temples and mosques had become pilgrim centers. The artisans lived in their own special quarters. In fact, the weavers lived in the weavers' colony. The goldsmith lived in a colony inhabited by goldsmiths and so on. This was the general pattern for all artisans and craftsmen. These people supplied luxury goods were also sent abroad for land. The rural karkhanas or workshop employed these workers for producing beautiful goods which were often used as gift to be given away by the sultan. The peasant. The peasant of course lived in the villages and were often the worst off. They paid huge tax to the state as land revenue. Any change of dynasty had no effect on their lives. Their life continued as before. The caste system was very rigid, and intercaste marriage and intercaste dining was totally prohibited. But exchange of ideas did take place on a large scale. Those who converted themselves to Islam did not forget their old customs. Thus, exchange of ideas and customs took place. Many Hindu customs were adopted by Muslims, while many Muslims customs were adopted by Hindus, like those concerning food, dress, clothing, and music, beside many others. Trade. Trade was flourishing, and many new towns came up to encourage track. Some communities like the Banias, Marwaris, and Multanis made trade their special vocation. The Banjaras traded in caravana, uh, caravanners and were continuously on the move, carrying goods from one place to another. Delhi was the center for the incoming as well as outgoing goods. There was rice from the east, sugar from Kannauj, wheat from the Doab, and fine silk from the south. Beside, there were luxury goods like metalware, ivory, jewelry, cotton, textile, and many other goods from outside India like East Africa. Africa and China also came to Delhi. According to Ibn Battuta, Delhi at that time was a magnificent city. The growth of trade encouraged the use of money, and at this time came into use the silver tanka. It was the most commonly used currency also, uh, and was introduced by Illutus. Even the system of weights that were used at that time continues to be in use until the recent adoption of the metric system. Religious condition. When Islam came to India, Hindus was in vogue, but by this time Hinduism had degenerated itself. There were superstition beliefs, rituals, and sacrifices. Brahmins had become very powerful, and the caste system was very rigid. The people, especially the lower classes, were ill treated. Islam was the opposite of what was in practice among the Hindus. It talked of equality, brotherhood, and oneness of God. There were no dogmas in Islam. On the other hand, it had a simple doctrine, and democratic organization. The coming Islam did not bring in many changes in the political structure of the country. On the other hand, it changes the society pattern of society, social pattern of the society. The important result of this contact was the emergence of the Bhakti movements and the Sufi movements. Both the movements were based on the fact that God was super me, all men were equal for him, and bhakti or devotion to him was the way to achieve salvation. Rise of Islam and Sufism. The Muslims first came to India in the 8th century AD mainly as traders. They were fascinated by the socio-cultural scenario in the country and decided to make India their home. The traders who came to India from Central and West Asia carried back to the with them traces of India's science and culture. As a result, they become cultural ambassador of India by disseminating the knowledge to the Islamic world and from there to Europe. The immigrant Muslim also entered into matrimonial alliances with the local people and learned to live together in harmony. There was mutual exchange of idea and custom. The Hindu and Muslim influenced each other equally in dress, speech, manner, customs, and intellectual pursuit. The Muslim also brought with them their religion, Islam, which had a deep impact on Indian society and culture. Let us find out more about Prophet Muhammad and Islam in this lesson. Prophet Muhammad preached Islam in the 7th century AD in Arabia. He was born in AD 571 in uh, Quraysh tribe of Arabia. He migrated to Medina from Mecca in AD 600 to 620, and this marked the beginning of the Hijra era. According to the Muslim belief, Qur'an is the message of Allah revealed Muhammad through his arch- archangel Gabriel. Gabriel. It has been translated into several languages. The five fundamental principles of Islam are Tawheed, believe in Allah, namaz, prayer 5 times a day, roza, fasting in the month of Ramjan, zakat, giving of alms, hajj, pilgrimage of Makkah. Prophet Muhammad's saying are preserved in what is called the Hadith or Hadith. After his death, the caliphate was established. There were four pieces caliphates. Islam talked of equally bother hand and the existing of one God. Its arrival particularly make a profound impact on the traditional pattern of Indian society. The rise of both the Bhakti and the Sufi movements contributed immediately in the regard. Both the Bhakti and Sufi movement believe that humans are equal. God is supreme, and devotion to God is the only way to achieve salvation. Rise of Sul- uh, rise of Sufism. Sufism is a common term used to Islamic mysticism. The Sufis were very liberal in their religion outlook. They believed in the essential unity of all religions. They preached spiritually through music and doctrine that professed union with God. Sufism originated in Iran and found a congenial atmosphere in India. Under the Turkish rule, there is their sense of piety, tolerance, sympathy, concept of equity, and friendly attitude attracted many Hindus, mostly from lower classes to Islam. Sufis, sons such as mm, Moniuddin Chist, Nijamuddin Aulia, Farauddin Ganj-e-Shakkar were the pioneer Sufis who are still loved, respected, and honored in the India. The Sufis were also influenced the Christian and Buddhist monks regarding the establishment of their khangas and dargah. Khanga, the institution about of Sufis set by the Sufis in northern India, took Islam deeper into countryside. Mazars, tombs, and Taqiyas, resting place of Muslim sons, also become the center for the propagation of Islamic ideas. These were patri- patronized both by the aristocracy and the common people. The Sufis embraced respect for all human beings. The Sufis were organized into religion order or silshaha. These silsilah were named after their founders such as Kishti, Suharwardi, Quadi, and Naqshbandi. According to Abul Fazl, the author, the An I Akbari, there were as many 14 silsilah in India during the 16th century. Each order had its own khanga, which served as shelter for the Sufi sons and for desti- destitutes, and later developed as center of learning. Ajmer, Nagar, and Ajodhan or Pak Pathan, now in Pakistan, developed as important center of Sufis. These also started the tradition of pre-murdi teacher and the discipline in order to attain a state of ministerial um, state. The Sufism listened to pottery and music sama, which were originally in Persian but later used to Hindwari or Hindustani. They praised the unity of God and self surrender into Him in almost the same way the votaries of the Nirgun Bhakti movement did. Music attracted everyone irrespective of languages. Slowly, such music attracted the Hindus who started visiting the Dargah in large number. The Hindus' impact on Sufism also become visible in the form of siddhas and yogic postures. Political background: the rulers of Delhi who ruled from 2006 to 90 were Mamluk Turks. They were followed by the Khiljis, Tughlaqs, Shayyad and Lodhis who ruled northern India from Delhi till 1526. All these rulers were called sultans. A sultan was supposed to rule over a territory or behalf on the khalifa kaf- or or caliph, who was considered to be spiritual and temporal head of the Muslim. Both the name of the Khalifa and the Sultan used to be read in the uh, Khutha Friday prayers by the local im- imams. In 1526, the Delhi Sultan were replaced by the Mughal who initially ruled from Agra and later from Delhi till 1707. Thereafter, the Mughals' rule continues only nominally till 1857 when the dynasty ended. The Mughals did not ask for any investitures but continued to send prese- presents to the Khalifas. They also got the khutbah read in their own names. However, Sher Shah, a local Afghan ruler, challenges the Mughal ruler Hum- Humayun and kept him away from the throne of Delhi for about 1400 uh, 1540 to 1550. Sher Shah's reign stands out for many outstanding achievements. Among these was the construction of several roads, the most important being Shar- Sharak Ajam of Grand Turak Road, existing from Sonargaon, now in Bangladesh, to Attock, now in Pakistan, and run through Delhi and Agra, a distance of 1500 kos. The other roads were from Agra to Barahan, Agra to Barwar, and from Lahore to Multan. He struck beautiful coins in gold, silver, and copper, which were imitated by the Mughal kings. Mughal Emperor Akbar, who ruled from 1556 to 1605, was a great ruler in history of India. He made a sincere effort to foster harmony in his subjects by discouraging racial, religion, and culture based. He tried to develop friendly religion with the Hindus to fulfill the imperialist ambition. He entered into matrimonial alliances with the Rajput rulers. His greatest contribution was the political unification of the country and the establishment of all powerful central government with an union system of administration. Akbar was a great patron of art, archi- architecture, and learning. As a sector-minded monarch, he also started a faith called Dini Ilahi, which em- encompassed ideas from various religions. On every Thursday, scholars from different religions came to debate on religion issues. Through literally Akbar patronized scholars and learned men in his court. There were nine such: Navratna, Mullah Do, Piazza, Hakim Humam, Abdar Rahim Khan, E. Khanan Abdul, Tayal, Tansin Raja, Todar Mal, Raza Man Singh, Fazi, and Birbal Akbar policy of the liberalism and tolerance was continued by the successor Jahangir and Shahjahan. However, this policy was abandoned by Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb short-sighted policy and endless wars in different parts of the country, especially in South India, result in the district. disintegrations of the Mughal Empire, the rise of Marathas in south, the invasions of Nadir Shah and Ahmad Shah Abdali, unrest amongst the nobility in the court, and the rise of Sikh in northwestern India destroyed whatever was left of the Mughal power. Economically, India was still the biggest exporter in the world and had a great wealth, but it was left for behind in the process of modernization. Cultural development. It was in the field of art and architecture that the rulers of this period took a keen interest. The composite culture characteristic of the medieval period is amply witnessed in these fields. A new style of architecture known as Indo-Islamic style was born out of this fusion. The distinctive feature of Indo-Islamic architecture were the dome, lofty ta- towers or minarets, arc, and the vault. The Mughal rulers were great lovers of the nature. They took pleasure in spending their time in building beautiful forts and gardens. The famous Mughal garden like the Salima Bagh and the Nishant Bagh are important elements of our cultural heritage. There were waterway and fountain crisis crossing these gardens, and finally there were gardens with stages or levels. The water, while cascading from one state to another, was made to fall in small street mills with lamps lit behind them, making the water shimmer and lend a special charm to the whole atmosphere. It could also be made to flow over a chiseled and sloping slab so that the water flowing over it simmered. The best example of this type of garden is that the is a better example can be seen in India. Pinzore Garden, situated on the Chandigarh Kalka Road, where we have a seven-state garden. This impressed the British so much that they created a three-state garden in the Vice-Regal Nose, now the Rajis, Raj Tripathi Bhavan in New Delhi. It was on these very lines that the famous Vrindavan garden in Mysore were built in 20th century. The Pintra Dora or colored stone inlay work on marble become very popular in days of Shah Jahan, and finest example of this type of work available in the Red Fort in Delhi and the Taj Mahal at Agra. Beside the structure within the Fatehpur Sikri complex, the forts at Agra and Lahore and the Shahi Mosque in Delhi and Lahore are an example part of our heritage. During this period, mosque, temples of king and the dargah came to dominate the landscape. Coinage, coinage. Another aspect of the art which is great important to us is concentrated with numismatics, the study of coins, which is a major source of information for any period of history. The coins of Muslim kings are valuable in history. Their design, calligraphy, and mint mark gives us plenty of interesting information on this period. From the royal titles, the name and place of m- minting, we can find out extent of the monarch kingdom as well as his status Muhammad Tughlaq's coins were minted at Delhi, Daulatbad, and several other provincial capitals, and had at least 25 different varieties. Some of the legends found on the coins are quite interesting. The warrior in cause of God, and he was Obi the Sultan Obi in the composition are a few examples. Bhakti movement. The Sufis were not only popular religion teacher of the time, there were also the Bhakti sons. Their techniques were similar to those of the Sufis, but they had been teaching for a longer time. They were popular among the artisans, craftsmen, and traders in town. The people in the villages also flocked to listen to them. The Sufi and Bhakti sons had many thoughts and practices in a common. Their essential beliefs was in a need to unite with God. They laid stress on love or devotion as the basis of the relationship with God. To achieve all this, Guru or Pir was needed. The Bhakti sons attacked the rigidity in religion and the objective of worship. They discarded caste and encouraged women to join in their religion gathering. The Bhakti sons did their entire teaching the local vernacular language to make it comprehensive even to simple minds. The Bhakti sons belong to various backgrounds but mainly from the lower caste. Many were artisan by origin or belonged to the less prosperous class of cultivator. This stressed the need for the tolerance among human and religion. The Bhakti movement was long known as in the South. The idea of preaching Bhakti through hymns and stories was traditionally done by the Alvars and uh, the Navanaras of the Tamil devoted cult. You will read about them later in the book. Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak was born of a Khatri family in the village of Talwandi, which is now called Nanakana. Through Guru Nanak was trained in accounting. He preferred the company of sons and Sufis. Sometime later, he had a vision. He left home for the company, sons and priest. He composed hymns and sung them to the accompaniment of the rabab, which is a music instrument. His rhymes are popular even today. He embraced love and devotion for the one and only God. He strongly denounced idol worship, pilgrimage, sacrifices, and ritual as a way to achieving God. He demanded purity of character and conduct of the first condition of approaching God. He believed that anyone could achieve a spiritual life while doing his duties as a householder. Ram, Ramanuja. Ramanuja was from the south and taught in the language of common people. His discipline was uh, Ramananda, who took his guru masses to the northern part of India. Ramananda. Ramananda was born at Allahabad and educated at Varanasi. He preached at both these places. He wanted to rid the Hindu religion of its evil customs and practice. He wanted people to know that men were equal in the eyes of God and there was nobody high born or low born. His followers belongs to different walk of life. For example, Kabir was a weaver, uh, Sadhana was a butcher, and Ravidas was cobbler, and Sena was a barber. And Kabir was Ramananda favorite discipline like Nanak he criti- criticized the existing social order and called for Hindu-Muslim unity. Kabir, the son of a Muslim weaver, strongly denounced ideal worship, taking part in formal worship such as namaz, mm, pilgrimages, or bathing in rivers. He wanted to preach a religion which was accepted to all and that would unite all religions. He embraced the unity of God. He called him by several names such as Rama, Govinda, Hari, and Allah. You must have read his dohas or cou- couplets in Hindi. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya was sant from Bengal. He was devotee of Lord Krishna. Though he was Brahman, he condemned the caste system and embraced on the equality of all. He wanted the people to know that the true worship lay in love and devotion. He used to go into trance singing devotional songs in praise of Lord Krishna. Mirbai, Mirabai. Mirabai was another Bhakti sant who worshipped, composed, and sung song in praise of Lord Krishna. Like mm, Chaitanya, she took would go to into trance in her love for the god. Namadeva. Namadeva was a tailor. He wrote in Marathi. His poetry spoke of his intense love and devotion of God. Popularity of Bhakti movement. How did Bhakti movement become a popular with the people? An important reason was that very challenges the caste system and the superiority of the Brahmans. They welcomed the ideas of equality and brotherhood, which the Sufi sons also preached. People were no longer satisfied with the old religion. They wanted a religion which could satisfy both their rationally as well as emotions. All the bhakti sons embraced one's uh, one less of God. They said the path to God lay in devotion and bhakti to Him and not in any rituals. They they condemned rituals and sacrifices. In northern India, it developed into two streams, Nirguna Bhakti and Saguna Bhakti. The Nirguna Bhakts were devotees of a formless God, even while calling him variously of Rama, Govinda, Hari, or Raghunatha. The most conspicuous among them were Kabir and Nanak. The Shaguna Bhaktas were devoted of Rama, the son of Dasharatha, or Krishna, the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. Some of the best example of Saguna Bhaktas were Tulsi Das, who idolized Rama in famous Ramcharitramanas, and Surdas, who sung praises of Krishna in his famous Sursagar. Ra- Rakshan Khan, a Muslim poet who was a devotee of Lord Krishna, also belonged to the tradition. The first important feature of Bhakti movements was the concept of oneness of God and brotherhood of all human beings. It doesn't discriminate against anyone on the basis of caste or gender. Its second important feature was surrender into God, who is all pervasive and capable of solving the problems of devotees. The third important feature of bhakti was an intention personal devotion to God with an emphasis on good moral life. It was felt that chanting the name of God consistently purified the soul and prepared one for His grace. A true devotee doesn't want heaven or moksha. He only wants to chant, the Lord name and be born again and again sing his praise. In addition came the Guru or spiritual teacher whose function was to provide people with hope, strength and inner courage. He was supposed to be person who was marched ahead on the path of bhakti and probably realized God and hence was capable of leading others into him. This brought in the system of Pahul. Pahul was the uh, sanctified water offered by a master to the pupil Sisha as a token of his being accepted a training on his march to godliness. The Sikh performed washing of the sword ceremony called Khang- Khande Ka Pahul, evolving as the Pir Muridi custom, the Sant shoulder concept. Have you been able to notice here some features of the Bhakti tradition which were similar to the practice and ideas of the Sufis? The a spirit of bhakti pervaded the whole of Indians and found vivid and beautiful expression in this religion portray of the medieval sons and mystic no matter what religion faith they believed in they literally their literacy compositions renders into great quality, etc. United the people as nothing else could have done. It also stimulated the development of religion languages. Development of folk arts. The rural masses got opportunity to display the creative skills in many fields. Several occasions associated with agriculture operation, for example, the tilling of soil, sowing of sapling, picking of cotton, pulling out of weeds, and many other social functions provided opportunity for singing and dancing. Does the sound familiar to you? Yes, the festival and rituals you perform today have continued from the past with necessary changes in keeping with time. The Advent rains become oceans for dancing and merrymaking. The gods were evolved and special pujas offered. The temples it was also oceans for enjoying the showings. Similarly, ladies on their spinning wheels, accompanied by other ladies, would sit together and sing till late into night. This was a common sight in almost all the villages in India. It is important to note that almost every region developed its own peculiar dance form with a local flavor. The Garva, Kalbela, Bhangra, Gid, Gidha, Bambo dance, Lavani, and innumerable other dances forms came into existence today. Some of these are performed during the Republic Day celebration as well as other festival occasions. Form, Formal education was not considered very important for women, but this doesn't prevent them from showing their talent in various other fields. They display their creativity in needlework. In Rajasthan, girls came up the beautiful design on udhanis, shirt, and Ghangras. The Rajasthani also created beautiful design of tie and dye work in fabrica, colorfully dressed in India. Their lavishness could be seen in the way they all they decorated their animals, horse, bullocks. Their lavish could be seen in the way decorated their colorfully dressed India. Their lavishness could be seen in the way of decorated their animals, horse, bullocks, camels, and even elephant. In Punjab, the girls created beautiful pihul curries in and around Lucknow. Came up in uh, chicken work on shirt, salwars, udha, udhanis, and even saris. It appeared that the dramatic about Boom Bharta mentioned in his Natyashtra uh, 50th century 5th century had not completely disappeared. The tamasha and the lavani form of dance drama were developed in Maharashtra. The Pandavanis in central India and Marvis in northern India applied such art from with slight modification. So also the pu- puppetry, the bard and the mime moved from place to place, entertaining people in various ways. The acrobat and the juggler also could be seen moving from place to place. In some areas, the material art were developed while wrestling has been popular all over India since time immemorial. Immor- immemorial. Painting. Another area which was influenced by Islamic culture was painting. Humayun had spent more than 20 years in um, Persia as a refugee. He brought painters with him to India when he became the ruler of Delhi once again in 15,055. Famous among them were Mir Sayyid Ali and Abdas Samad who nurtured the tradition of painting manuscript. An example of its Dastai Amir Hazma Hamza, which has nearly 12,000 paintings. The period also witnessed the flooring of portrait and miniature paintings. However, what is amazing is that some of these painters tried to paint the classic ragas, thereby giving from form and culture to such abstract conceptions as music, fashion, or Baramasa painting were similarly given given artistic form. Can you ever estimate the creativity of these artists now? Nowhere else in the world except perhaps in China, artists have tried to paint music or session. Akbar, Jahangir, and Jahan, Jahan continue to give patrons to these artists, and as a result, the Mughal school of painting continued to flourish. Akbar, as a liberal ruler, extended his patronage to painting. He also employed a large number of Hindu painters like Dashwant and Umbasa one Lal. Consequently, there were a fusion Persian and Indian style of painting. During the period, the European influence on Indian painting too was noticed. The Mughal school of paintings reached its zenith under Jahangir, who was famous painter. His court was adorned with famous painters like Us- Ustad and Abdul Hassan. Mansoor was famous for the miniature painting. However, Aurangzeb, due to the orthodox view and political preoccupations, stopped patroning music and painting like their master. Some princes also extend uh, patrons to painter. Thus, beside the Mughal school, the Rajput and the Pahari school of painting also received encouragement. Even the upper classes in the society started patronizing painters. As a result, the Haveli's big mansions of the rich and temples were profusely embellished. These have in Rajasthan attract a large number of tourism even today. You can visit these Havelis if you find an opportunity to visit Rajasthan. The Mughal school of painting from the 16th the 18th century gave rise to the Indo-Persian school of miniature art. The Mughal court painters introduced landscapes together with human fingers customs. When they come in touch with the traditional Indian style, they become more natural. Singing on the menu manufacture as a tradition also started. Artists were now employed monthly salary. They illustrated such important works as the Changiz Nama, Jafar Nama, and Ramayana. Music. The Mughal Emperor Akbar, Jahangir, and Shah Jahan patronized several musicians. Tansin, who adorned the court of Akbar, not only sung the classical ragas but also composed new ones. It is said that Shah Jahan himself was quite a good singer. These musicians entertained the emperor at different times of the day in different sessions with appropriate rags. During the Turco-Afghan rule in India, a synthesis of Anglo-Iranian music had started. During the Mughal rule, it developed further. It is interesting to note that Aurangzeb was against music, but the largest number of books on classical Indian music in Persian were written during his time in the north. A distinct school known as Hindustani School of Music came into being, and its specialty lay in producing sweet and rapturous melodies to suit different moods of life. The rags and the raginis were personalized accordingly. Khayal, Tumri, and Ghazal were also elaborated during this period. Tansin was in a scene the pioneer of this school. Similarly, in the south, the Carnatic school of music developed. However, accordingly, people retained the flair for folk music and folk songs to uh, commemorate their local chief like Uddal, Dulha, Bhatti, Jamal, Patha, etc. Indo-Mughal culture. The Mughal rules discarded Afghan titles of Sultan and styled themselves as Badshah, Emperor, and Dine Panaha, Protector of Faith. Further, to evoke revenge among the subject for the emperor, they started the practice of Garokha Darshan or making public appearance through specially built windows. They also encouraged the court practices of Sizda, low prostration before the kings, and concentrated religion and political power more firmly in their hands. Rise of the modern Indian languages. Another important development during this period was the emergence of several modern Indian languages. Urdu perhaps originated around Delhi. It developed as a camp language in the army of Alauddin Khilji when they were stationed in the Deccan around 14th century AD. In fact, the states of Bijapur and Golconda in the Deccan become the cradles of Urdu literature. The language soon developed its own grammar and became a district language. As time passed, it came to be used by the elite as well. The famous poet Amir Khus- Khusru, who composed poetry in this language, also played some part in making it popular. Beside poetry, beautiful prose, short story novels, and dramas were written in Urdu during the 18th and 19th century. In the first half of the 19th century, Urdu journalism played a very important role during the struggle for independence. Along with Urdu, nearly all other modern Indian languages like Bengali, Assamese, Oriya, खरी बोली, Punjabi, Gujarati, Marathi, Sindhi, Kashmiri, as well as the four South Indian languages Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, and Malayalam came to acquire their present from and developed during this period. New faith. During this period, two new religion faiths flourished in India. They were Sikhism and Jainism. To bring established reform within religion, various reform movements also started in India. Sikhism. The Sikh who mostly belong to Punjab from a sizable group of our population. The Orthodox Sikhs believe that their religion was revealed by God to Guru Nanak, who spirit entered the second and subsequent Gurus till the 10th Guru. Guru Gobind Singh ordained the Sikh to treat the Granth, Adi Granth, popularly known as the Guru Granth Sahib, as their guru. But the students of history and religion think that the seeds for the birth and growth of this religion were present in the Bhakti movement in its Nirguna branch. The Sikh basically believe in a formal God, equality of all mankind need a guru and Pahul tradition. Sometimes the Gurudom was confirmed on the sun and sometimes on the best discipline. Uh, the fifth Guru, Guru Arjan Dev, gave the Sikh three things. The first was in the shape of the Adi Granth, which contains the sayings of five gurus and other aligned sons. The second was the standardized script for Gurumukhi in which the Adi Granth was first written. And finally, the site and the foundation of Har Mandir Sahib or the Golden Temple and the Akal Takht at Amritsar, the highest seat from where the dic- dictates for the entire Sikh community are issued. The tenth Guru, Guru Gobind Singh, created the Khalsa, which means the pure, in 1699. He also ordained the Sikh to take five vows, namely keeping of kesh, long hair and beard, khanga, comb, kada, metallic bengal, kirpan, sword, and khacha and underwear extending to a title above the knees. Consequently, these symbols become the distinguishing mark of a Sikh. He further added that after his death, the Adi Granth will be the Guru of the Sikh and they have to pay obedience to this holy book. Music has always been an important feature of Sikhism, and they believed that through music one can attain ecstasy or samadhi. Zoroastrianism. The Paris of Zoroastrianism religion was found by Jera, Jeras, Zoroaster or Zoroaster in the 8th century BC. He preached monotheism in the region now known as Persia. He taught the worship of fire and the presence of good and bad in the form of Ahura Mazda, and Ahura Man. He also taught the ethics doctrine of kindness and charity. These doctrines are are inserted in the Zend Avesta. The Zoroastrian religion is spread over the whole Persia are remained the dominant region till the 8th century AD. When Muslims conquered this region, most of the Persians migrated to different parts of the world. They also came to India and settled to Navsari in Gujarat and later on spread also all part of India. They have contributed a lot of Indian culture. It was Dada Bhai Naroji, the famous nationalist leader at a Persi who exposed the hollowness of the British claim of civilizing India and not exploiting it. Another outstanding the figure who belonged to this community was Jamshed Tata, appointing Indian. He established an iron and steel industry in India in the face of the toughest competition posed by the British steel mills and yet continues to prosper. The, the Parsis also established a large number of public charities. Zoroastrianism is not proselytizing religion and no new entrants are accepted into its fold under any circumstances. Thus, we can see that the cultural stream in India continues to assimilate all the newcomers, and the resulting cultural interaction gave Indian culture its characteristic multi-dimensional, multi-illegal, multi-religion, and yet composite nature. South India between the 9th and 11th century AD, a dynasty known as the uh, Kolas was ruling the Kolas Mandalam region in southern India. The Kolas developed a strong army beside a powerful navy. Rajendra Kola is said to have conquered some Indonesian island. They also developed democratic ins- institu- institutions at the villages level. Even Buddhism and Jainism flourished in the region. Literature, fine arts, sculpture, and metal casting of the highest order flourished under their patronage. The 14th century saw the rise of a new state called Vijayanagara, now called Karnataka. To north of the state across the Tungabhadra rivers rose a new Islamic state called the Bahmani, now known as Andhra Pradesh. The Bahmani and Vijayanagara kingdoms were pitted against each other over the rich Rachur Dove. In Cholamandalam region, the Tamil language was popular in Karnataka, Kannada in Andhra Pradesh, Telugu, and in Kerala, Malayalam flourished, all having different scripts. It is just possible that originally the entire region spoke Tamil, as it is very old languages, but by the Middle Ages, the four languages had come to have distinct identities. However, between the 14th and 16th century, Vijayanagara achieved great heights. Some uh, foreigners who visited these areas in 15th and 16th centuries have praised the kingdoms, the town, and the people that remain of Vijayanagara found in Hampi dazzle the world even today. During the Kola period, Kanchi became a great seat of learning. The Vijayanagara kings also become great patrons of art and learning. What you have learned. The earlier Turkey's rulers 2006 to 1526 were called Sultan as they were supposed to rule on behalf of the Khalifas. The Mughals replaced the Sultan of Delhi. The patronized music, painting, and architecture, and they ruled India till 1707. They also built a large number of buildings. The Mughal Empire weakened and disinterested after 1707. In this cause emerged the British East India Company as a political power. The Sufis, with their attitude of pity, tolerance, sympathy, and concept of equality and deep impact on the Indian people. The Bhakti movement of 14th and 16th century developed into two streams, Nirguna and Saguna. The people developed their own regional and local folk traditional dance and music. The medieval period saw the emergence of Urdu. This period saw the rise of the present-day Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, and Malayalam in the south, and Assamese, Bengali, Hindi, or Khariboli, Punjabi, and Gujarati language in the north. Sikkim was founded by Guru Nanak. Guru Arjan Dev finalized the present script of the Guru Mukhi, the Guru Adi Granth, and Siddhar Mandir in Amritsar. Zoroastrianism was found by Zoroaster in 8th century BC in Persia. The close conquered parts of Bengal and Indonesia. They introduced democratic institutions at the village level. Kanchi became a great seat of learning. Vijayanagar's remains have been found Hampi in Karnataka in the Andhra region, Flores in the Maham, Bahamani state. The Indian society at this time was divided into four major groups: the aristocrats, the priests, the town people, and the peasant. Trade flourished in Delhi as the center of all incoming as well as outgoing trade. Islam had a great influence the Indian society. There were two important religion movements during this period: the Sufi and Bhakti movement. The most important Sufi sons uh, were just Faraudisi and Nijamuddin Aulia. Some well-known Bhakti sons were Guru Nanak, Ramanujan, Ramananda, Kabir, Chaitanya, Mirabai, and Namadeva.